Welcome back to the ZBrush Podcast. I want to thank you all for tuning into ZBrushLIVE.com and the ZBrush Podcast wherever you're listening. We want to take just a quick moment to talk about ZBrush subscription pricing. And if you follow the link that we have provided in the description, you'll see that we do have a 1-month price for ZBrush, which is $39.95 a month, or the 6-month pricing, which is $179.95 a month, or the perpetual license, which is $8.95. And that currently is a one-time cost that never expires. So we assume most of you that listen to the podcast already own ZBrush, but if you have friends or people that are interested in getting into digital sculpting or ZBrush, all of this information can be found by following this link. And for all of you ZBrush Podcast listeners, we would greatly appreciate any reviews, comments, or feedback wherever you're watching these episodes or checking out our shows. Also, of course, likes and subscriptions would be greatly appreciated, and we already appreciate all of you that have already done so. If you have been tuning into our content on ZBrushLIVE.com, we have a very special, unique tool for you using Discord. So in the description of this episode, you'll see a sign-up link, which you can sign up, and you can join the conversation with all the ZBrushers out there that are using Discord. And it's a great way to just communicate and connect with other artists and creative people like yourselves. So we thank all of you ZBrushers out there for your continued support. So that covers all the information we wanted to share with you. We have an exciting episode for you with our guests, Ashley Sparling and Sebastian Giroux. The pair of these guys are character artists at Ubisoft in Quebec City. Ashley is a lead character artist and Sebastian is a character artist. And the pair of these guys sat with us at the ZBrush Summit, where they also participated in the Sculpt-Off competition, and they actually accepted the award for Game of the Year on behalf of Ubisoft Quebec Studio, which we gave to them for the ZBrush Awards. It's an incredible game, Assassin's Creed Odyssey, that they both worked on, and the character work is insane. And sitting with the pair of them, it was a blast to sort of just have a conversation with them about their process, what it was like working together, working with a team of artists. We're going to post a link directly in the description that is going to take you to the post where you can see all the character artists' work and all the artists who were involved in the project, so you can kind of get a breath on everybody who's involved for this project. And these guys were so much fun to talk to. You can really get a sense for the camaraderie, and we talk a lot about just what it's like to work in the games industry and working as character artists and what kind of goes into it. So it's an episode you don't want to miss, and we had a lot of fun in this conversation. So let's get right to it with Ashley Sparling and Sebastian Giroux.
My wife is she's really cool. She comes and gives me crits and stuff, and
that's awesome.
She's not an artist, but I trust her eyes. She's got a good
I don't
eye.
like that.
Yeah, it was your first one was better. I was like, okay, I'll just spend
kind of eye there.
I just had 3 hours on this on my life, and then the second time, the third time, it just everything kind of worked, and I did a few measurements for things and things, and when I ended up doing it the third time, and I had half an hour left, and I was like, okay, if I can get this with that time, okay, I'm happy. I'm happy.
Yeah. You can sacrifice that.
Yeah, and then when it was in the actual competition, all of the elements that I thought I wasn't going to put in, when I looked at the time, I was like,
you were doing great.
Oh man, I've got another half an hour left. I was like, okay, so I can add those bits in that I didn't think I was going to be able to add.
Then the pressure goes even lower.
Yeah.
And then that's one of the things I noticed. I was just because I was I think I only had 15 minutes left, but I actually saved the PSD. So I knew in my head, okay, whatever happens, now I got something locked in. After that, I went back, and then I started to fix my thing. But as soon as I did that, the stress level, which was not super intense, but still there, just went a notch down. Yeah. So it become even nicer to actually work in that environment.
That's anything, the anticipation of something, you just you have such a high expectation that you have to meet. If you can surpass that and just forget about it, or just get it done to a place where you are good, it's whatever I do after this doesn't matter. It's just icing on the cake, basically.
No, definitely.
Yeah.
But I think as well, because for me, at work, I don't get 3 hours to sit down and just sculpt, because having to run around everywhere, people come up, ask you questions and stuff. And for me, it was kind of oh man, I've got 3 hours just to sit here and sculpt. That's gotta
be awesome.
Headphones on, and when the music comes on, man, this is my jam. You
were
saying, I kind of looking over to Seb, and he was
I was bouncing my head, that's my track,
so good.
I'm going with this.
Yeah.
That's great, man. Well, I mean, the awards is going to be tonight. So best of luck to both of you guys.
Cool. Thanks, man.
Hopefully it's not too much of a competition between you both.
No.
You guys seem friendly
just
about
the fact that we made it.
Being here is
man, that's it. I think for me, I think I already won. Just being like with amazing other like sculptors and all, and just like the experience. I mean,
Yeah.
that's for me. It's like the journey more than anything
That's
else.
so great to hear.
So yeah,
I think everybody shares that same sentiment. Truly.
Yeah.
Like I don't think there's anybody here that's coming in to like really just want to like destroy everybody. They just want to be here, and everybody seems to just love it.
No,
Yeah.
that's it. That's
Nice.
it. And I think you're the same. But like it's been like what, like 2 or 3 years or even more that we've been like watching the summit and the Sculpt-Off.
Yeah.
And every year we're just like, oh man, I wish I could, because there's nothing worse than seeing someone doing it, and then you just, I don't know, you got like this
you're
hype
like,
of,
oh,
hey,
come
I
on,
want
I
to jump in and I want
give
to
it-
try
you
it
wanna
out.
try it out.
And to be honest with you, I was like applying, I think at least like 2 years
Yeah.
before like this year,
Mm-hmm.
and I wasn't like picked up. So it was like, it's not like for the lack of trying. It's just
Yeah.
like it
It's-
wasn't clicking in. So
Yeah.
when it clicked in, like for
It's-
this year, man,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
was
That must have been so awesome.
And
Man,
for
that was it.
Both of us to be in it as well. It was like, oh man, like all that time that we were like practicing speed sculpting.
Yeah,
we get
that's
to
it.
actually
That's
do
it.
it together.
That's so
which
right.
is-
because he was pushing me since he actually came to the summit last year. He was
Yeah.
like pushing me to
Come on,
say,
Seb,
"Man, you
gotta go,
got to
gotta
show
go.
up.
Gotta
You
go."
got to show up like next year, man. It's gonna it's amazing. So you're missing out. So
Yeah.
I was just like, I don't know, dude. And
I don't know, dude.
and I was just like, yeah. And since I tried like 2 other years before, I said, I get the feeling that if I don't get picked up with the Sculpt-Off, it might not happen because
Yeah.
I needed like that kind of like strong reason to go,
motivation.
to go. And then my girlfriend was really amazing because as soon as I heard that I was like being considered to be for the Sculpt-Off, then I was like I rented like a chalet and we're like in a date away with the kids, and I was just like they asked me like to, and she was just like, okay, I'm gonna pay for your trip and you're gonna
What?
get there. And I was
That's
like,
so sweet of
are
her.
you? Yeah, I was
Yeah.
like, oh, are you for real? And she was, yeah, it's gonna, because my birthday is coming up and all. So I was just like, man, everything is aligning, so I got to
Stars
show
align.
up, man. I am in
Yeah.
it.
Man, that's
That
so
was-
awesome.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
really beautiful. I love that. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, you guys are great. We love your energy. I mean, you guys are obviously bringing something here that like it's a special experience. I can definitely tell.
Yeah,
That's
no,
awesome,
it's
man.
no,
I'm
it's
happy
great.
for you both.
Oh,
That's
thank
really
you.
great.
Oh, thanks.
But man,
crying now.
but it's one of the things, you.
Should we hug?
Yeah. We get told off for tapping the table. Like,
Yeah, that's it. It's gonna be like a, like a remote, like a remote.
Too funny.
Yeah, but
Well, you guys got to tell me. You got to tell me a little bit about Quebec City because you guys are both at Ubisoft in Quebec City.
Yeah, man.
Yep.
So tell me about your positions. What do you guys both do there? I guess Ashley, if you want to go first.
Well, I'm a lead character artist there on Gods and Monsters. So
Okay.
on this project. So
Yeah.
first time being a lead on a project. So it's pretty sweet.
That's
pretty
exciting. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's crazy, but it's
I can imagine.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I love it.
and he's doing an amazing job too. I mean,
That's great.
for someone that got like in the kind of a quick position like that, and with such kind of mandate, I think
That's
he's
great.
rocking
Yes,
it.
man.
So
How about you,
Couldn't do it
Seb?
without you, man.
I'm a senior character artist on Gods and Monsters with him, and
So you guys work pretty close together.
yeah, pretty
Yeah.
much.
Yep.
Because the studio is not that big.
No, I had to
So-
run across the thing.
Yeah, we're not
like,
physically together.
Yeah.
But yeah.
How big is the studio space? How many artists do you guys have?
I mean,
character artists?
Yeah, character artists,
Like-
environments, all of that.
Oh.
I mean,
that's a
for
good
characters, there's 9 of us.
Yeah. Okay.
And
Yeah.
environments, oh man.
Probably quite a lot.
Yeah, a lot
Triple
more.
that, maybe.
A lot more.
Yeah, I think, how many in the studio? It's like 400?
Yeah, we're
450?
tempted to say something
Yeah.
like that. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but
So you guys are close in terms of you're communicating via Slack, maybe, or like
Yeah. Well,
No, it's just
It's
because
the-
like
'cause we've got
the way the
two-
production works,
Yeah, we've
like
got
we're
two
like kind of
teams.
separate. Yeah, kind of. It's like
like-
per cluster or like.
Yeah.
It's kind of like hard to explain, but basically like we got like a different kind of teams within like pods, and basically we're just like not physically sitting together, but we're just like basically at 2 other ends of the building. So
I see.
Yeah.
So you just
So
need.
I'm never at my desk. I'm
Yeah.
like always running between like the
Checking
two
everybody
teams,
else. Yeah,
like, and
okay.
then running upstairs to the gods
Yeah.
to make sure they're all happy, and then running back down and
Giving your
like,
offerings. And
Yeah, I think I do like about like 10,000 steps in like a day.
That's
Like,
pretty great,
I
man. You
like
got-
track it, man. Like,
Do you?
like those
My
muscular
thighs,
legs, man?
and then everyone's like, you never walk anywhere. I was like, you ain't got time to walk. Like,
That's it. But yeah, no, that's the thing. So you never know, like, if there's an emergency with Ash, because he's just like running all the time. So you just like, That
smile
that's a
and
regular.
just run.
Yeah, that's it.
That's great. Well, I feel like that's a good characteristic in a lead, because if you can just make everybody seem like at ease and not feel like it's crazy, that's got to be a big help. Because if it's like Sculpt-Off, like tension all the time, it's probably hard to get work done.
Yeah, no,
I can imagine.
definitely.
So you guys, we can talk about. I mean, God of Monsters, you guys can't talk too much about. That's a new story that you guys are working on.
Yeah.
But your last project was God of War. I'm sorry.
God of War.
Sorry. I said Raphael Rossetti today.
I didn't remember.
Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
Yeah, Grassetti was amazing. Grassetti, man, was really
it was amazing. It was, the team did a really great job. Odyssey, Assassin's Creed Odyssey, which I actually just got into myself recently. I was so late on it, but man, it's a great game. It really
Thanks,
is.
dude.
Yeah, it got a lot of high praise. IGN still talks about it. For sure. I listened to a couple of their podcasts, and a lot of those guys over there love it.
Yeah.
But so can you guys tell me a little bit about what you guys worked on for that project?
Yeah. So I mean, we did pretty much all of the characters. That is probably like the only game I've really worked on where we hadn't outsourced anything.
So you did it all in-house?
We did like a couple of things
except like the mythical
mythical
creatures.
But
that's the only thing that we didn't do in-house. But all the rest of it, like NPCs, main characters, outfits, all that.
Yeah,
all internally.
That's amazing. So you guys do, in terms of, you guys don't work in any conceptual design. You guys are working on production assets, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So because we like have concept artists and stuff like that.
Yeah, but of course, like it's always kind of loose depending on what we're working. Sometimes we'll just do like back and forth. Let's just say like the concept artists come up like with the concept, then we'll do like kind of quick sculpt, and then after that send it back. Sometimes not all the suits, but some of the suits might get like that kind of treatment.
So kind of like revisions back and forth.
Yeah, it's like kind of try to leverage like the 3D side, like basically the character artist side and the concept artist side, because both of them are artists, and like a 2D concept might work, but a 3D one might be. So we're like trying to leverage it. So
interesting. So you don't kind of force yourself to stick it to one medium. You can actually kind of use both or whatever works best for the project.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, that's great.
I think the result actually show up like better afterwards.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I do see a lot of conceptual artists seem to be using a lot of 3D now, and I just would think that it might be a lot easier for a concept artist to kind of block something out and then pass it off to a production artist. But maybe in that case, it doesn't work in a production pipeline.
I mean, we did it a few times with some of the creatures, like Gab, our character concept artist. He was doing the Cyclops, I think, trying to get the head right for the Cyclops.
Yeah.
Spoilers. Like, sorry. I
feel like the game's been out for quite a while.
Yeah. Okay.
Spoilers.
But like he was like trying to work out some stuff, and then then he fired it over to us, and we like kind of like took it to the next level.
Yeah.
So,
What was your guys' favorite part about that game?
You know what? It's pretty cool because none of the heads that we used were scan data. They were like literally all like sculpted in ZBrush and stuff. So for me, it was like kind of nice to be able to get like a really good quality with heads by sculpting it.
By actually sculpting it, which a lot of times a lot of people will do scan data to save time.
Yeah.
Was that just because you had more time in production?
Well, I think it was because we all just wanted to sculpt heads.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I think the aesthetic as well, that's one thing, like to use scan heads, but usually, you need to do a lot of cleanup and all. But sometimes you don't retain that kind of like charisma. I don't know if you saw like yesterday the presentation with Beyond Good and Evil.
I saw parts of it, but I didn't catch all of it yet. I was doing an episode.
But basically, Pascal was showing like the scan data versus like the revised one, and you could clearly see like a good gap in between, and starting from scratch like with the new ad, it definitely give you like something. I would be tempted to say that it's like something with more personality. Like
you can
like
get a character in it.
So,
not saying that scan's bad or anything like that. But it's a different. You get like a different result.
Sure.
Different vibe.
So Beyond Good and Evil, I guess that's a good reference because it's so character driven and they're going from like real like conceptual references. It looked like I saw I don't know the pig's character's name, but it was like they went through multiple iterations and they even had like a physical representation. It was like an anchor. It was like this like angular, almost like pentagon shaped like metal thing that was like supposed to represent this character, which is like that's a really cool way to connect the dots. And like it adds another layer to character design that like makes it so much more personal, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And I get that with scan data. It's like if you have a lot of assets that you just have to shortcut time, that's just what happens a lot of times, right? But
Yeah.
that's great for you guys that you actually got to do that.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And so it's, I mean, you're dealing with a lot of human assets. Did you guys, you said all the creature designs are outsourced?
Yeah, so it's just due to time, we kind of kept because the system for like when we built the outfits, it's not a normal system that you're used to. It was all built on like a layer system.
Okay.
So literally, you could have like any belts with any torso with any cape
shoulder
with
pad or
shoulder pads.
helmets.
Yeah.
So it's just like it was a system really like thinking about like to customize as much as you could. So on top of just having like texture swap, you could have like elements like he was saying, like torso piece with like shoulder piece, you could mix and match, and because of that you could populate as much as on the hero as much as in the world on other characters like
That's
NPCs
amazing.
and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So you have like a lot of diversity.
What kind of tools do you use for that? Is there do you kind of just visualize that with images, or you do that with like 3D?
So we had like an in-house tool that our tech artist, character tech artist made, and it was sometimes it was a little bit difficult to be like, okay, is this actually going to work? Like, but it worked out.
It was like kind of a lot of work,
Yeah,
but
a lot of bug fixing.
Definitely.
A lot of bug fixing.
Because it's not like the usual, okay, it's clipping, so we just move the vertices. Because if it's clipping on this piece, it might not clip on,
Right,
on
because
7
it's being
others.
swapped with the other
Yeah,
ones that are
exactly.
different.
So the whole approach was like quite different.
I
But
see.
basically we would just like have like one concept of a full outfit.
Yeah.
We would create it, and then we would like
Test
fit
it
it,
and swap
and
to
then
make sure.
try to make it work with all the other.
Yeah.
We had like
outfits.
templates to use and build off of those templates.
Oh, that's amazing.
So, we still use like ZBrush and primarily I just use ZBrush and Marvelous Designer and then retopologize in.
And then rework all that stuff.
Yeah.
So you guys spend and that's a big project where you're spending a lot of time with like clothing and drapery and just like that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, creating
Yeah.
ketones and hemations are like, man, like because it's like a certain way that you have to like fold the cloth, and
Right.
we got taught how to fold
Wrap
the
stuff
ketone
and fold.
properly and stuff.
And Greece was pretty much all about drapery, like all that, like those kind of. So
For sure.
And even like back then, I know that some of them were like folding it in a certain way because they, since they didn't have like T-shirt with like logos on it, that was like a way to have it like more custom per person.
Yeah.
So they would all put like the folds like in a certain way depending on who they were. So
Right.
So
you kind of
that
get
was-
like a sort of aesthetic that works for like the specific characters,
Yeah.
and the other ones have different ones.
Yeah, definitely.
And it was really hard as well because like we're so used to like when creating characters to be like putting like loads of detail in and like stitches and stuff like that. But because it's like based on real life Greece, like a lot of the time we couldn't put stitches in things or couldn't make trousers
Yeah.
because trousers didn't exist.
They didn't
then.
have those.
Yeah. And like with stitches, like you couldn't do like literally like proper stitches. Like you would have to be like, okay, it would be like pinned in and stuff like that.
yeah.
So it's,
Interesting.
Yeah, so it's like its kind of own like form language and
Right.
like,
And you have to sort
way
of figure
doing
that
it.
out when you're going through like sort of design choices, right? And figure
Yeah.
out how to apply that stuff when you're sculpting or whatever.
Yeah,
'Cause a lot of that
pretty
is
much.
just mapped out, I guess. You're using maps to extract out those things and have it show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. It's great that you actually there's sort of like a historical element and there's too where you kind of like, probably get to know more about the style of clothing in that
Yeah.
era than you
Yeah.
ever would.
But let's face it, like with stuff like Marvelous Designer and all, since we're
Yeah.
actually like it's all a flat like pattern, basically you need to understand how the clothing is
How's it
actually
gonna
made
work?
to be
Yeah.
so that it will react properly. So that's why there's no choice but just like to try to dig in and then try to investigate how to create that. So,
Yeah.
And the thing is, you can't fake it because the moment you try and fake it, you can tell it doesn't look right when you're like looking at it in reference. It's like, okay, that's
just
that's not right.
logically
Like,
doesn't make sense. Yeah.
And since they're barely wearing anything,
Yeah.
I mean,
That's
it
like-
shows
that
up.
is
That's the
what
first
it's
thing that
gonna be,
shows up.
like-
Like it's you cannot hide it with like other pieces. It's right there. So
Yeah, for sure. Do you guys spend a lot of time like in the ZBrush side? Do you guys have like I always wonder with studios, do you have do you guys create libraries of brushes or things like that, like sculpting seams brushes, where that you guys share these kinds of assets and work on these together?
Yeah. I mean, we've got like especially
yeah.
for the clothing stuff, we've kind of like got like a certain package of like brushes that we use.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like some things, like some people might go, oh yeah, I made a brush like a Z, like a Z tool for this. Or whatever.
But sometimes, like right now, it's a weird time for like, game production because, we use a lot of Substance Painter and there's so many cool tools. Like, let's just say like stitches.
Yeah.
Now you got like the choice of going with stitches, like right on the iris sculpt and then just like put them back in.
Yeah.
And then like baking this up and then that's it.
Yeah.
But then you got like the other option, which is actually you go to Substance Painter, you do like a stitching brush and then you put like a height on it so it bumps out.
Yeah.
And then you put it, so okay, the stitches, like from the distance that we'll look at it, are way too big or way too small.
Yeah.
Then you could just like change it right on the fly. If it's baked in, then you're stuck with it.
Right.
And the other thing is like by painting it like that, you can actually assign a specific color to that. Of course, you could always like do a color ID with insert IMM brush with stitches in ZBrush to try to compensate. But that's always like kind of depends on really on what the artist prefers.
I see.
But there's like kind of like more than one avenue to actually to get to the best result.
Oh, and that's like that with a lot of things, even just in ZBrush alone. There's a lot of different ways you could do one thing, right? And you see that a lot, like the Sculpt-Off. It's like best thing about it is everybody's kind of trying out their ways of doing stuff, right?
Yeah. But the way I see it with ZBrush, I always thought it was like almost like a I've been always like doing like martial arts, like Muay Thai and that kind of stuff. And I felt like ZBrush is really like like martial art, like Kung Fu. Basically, there's all
never
kind
heard
of
it talked about that way.
Yeah,
before.
but there's like all kind of like Kung Fu style, and every time you're just like, okay, you're like Fu Manchu kind of fighting style. And you're just like,
Everybody's got
I'm
their
doing
own
like the crane style, and they're just like, I've never seen that style. Like it's
I suppose
that's
it is,
amazing.
like,
everybody got like his way to actually practice the art. So
it just doesn't hurt when it hits you. That's the
thing.
Only your heart when it crashes.
Maybe your ego if it really goes wrong. But
I mean, if you're really doing it the wrong way, like if you're doing every single stitch one by one by one, and then somebody shows you like an IMM curve brush, you're like, man, that hurts. I've been doing it that way for a really long time.
It hurts for the in the good sense. So
that's very true. That's very true. Yeah, I'm just always curious about that. Do you, as far as Ubisofts go? Like watching Ubisoft Paris yesterday, they were showing similar stuff, showing Marvelous, but they were using a lot of Z Modeler to do things like signing in like specific things for seams. I don't know if you guys watched their presentation.
Like creases.
Like that kind of stuff. Do you guys share ideas and things like that across each other? Or are these kind of like localized to just your internal teams?
I think within like different studios, like we don't really get to interact that much with, unless we're all working on the same project.
I mean, sometimes like a team from like another studio will come down to a specific studio just like for a few days just to check around. But it's really like really in depth. It's like more like the big picture, how the pipeline works. If there's like something really specific that might have like a big impact, but most of the time it's really more like just like those guys, we didn't know them like before we came to the summit. And basically we talk to each other and then we try to like sync up like a Skype thing or, go there directly and then learn about that thing specifically. Because if not, then it's not like I think it's too hard like to track down like that sort of stuff.
Although Ubisoft do like a GDC thing, but it's called UDC.
UDC?
Like,
okay.
So like it's all of the studios.
And you can all meet up together and have sort of like a conference.
It's mainly in Montreal that does it.
I think so.
Like, and you guys go to this every year?
Yeah, they do it every year. So I've never been to it.
No,
so
they
don't normally.
It's not a mandatory thing. It's just like invite if you want to go.
Pretty much. But that's the thing. Like most of the time, I didn't see like a whole lot of things like artists.
Yeah, it's more.
Wise. It's more like programming, game design, that sort of stuff.
Materials and shaders and development side. Okay.
So,
But, that's interesting. Well, as far as you guys being at Ubisoft, what were you both doing before this? How long have you guys been at Ubisoft now?
I've been there 3.5 years now, something like that. Yeah, 3.5 years.
Okay.
So before then, I was at a company called Lionhead, working on Fable Legends.
Oh, I know Fable Legends. I didn't know Lionhead.
It's it's no longer. They closed it down. So
okay, that's unfortunate.
There to the end, and unfortunately, we never got to release Fable Legends.
That's too bad.
But then, Ubisoft heard about Fable Lionhead going down.
Scooped you guys up?
And they were like, hey, ever thought about coming to Canada? And I was like, oh my God, yes.
Where was that located?
It was back in the UK, in Guildford.
Yeah.
And I was like, said to my wife, do you want to go to Canada? And she was like, yeah. Like, so we were like, yeah, they flew me out there, had the interview, and yeah, been
That's
there
great.
since.
So you've been there for 3.5 years. How about you, Seb?
For me, like Ubisoft in general, it was like in Quebec, it's only been like 2 years, I think, and a half. But the thing is, like, when I started in the industry, I was like more in the VFX and film. And then I moved on. I had like the chance to actually get into Ubisoft Montreal in the cinematic department. And then that's when like I spent like 6 years overall. Like I think I only spent like 1 year with the cinematic, but then after that I moved like with the game production.
Yeah.
And then I spent like 6 years overall. Then I moved to Quebec City. I was like trying to transfer from Ubisoft Montreal to Quebec City.
Yeah.
Ubisoft Quebec City, but at that time no job was available. So I actually moved to Beanox, which they were working on Call of Duty Remastered.
Okay.
Like Modern Warfare. So I worked there for I think a year and a half. And then I moved like to Quebec City,
Gotcha.
Ubisoft.
That's great.
Yeah.
So you were working in cinematics for a little while.
Yeah.
That did you find that to be different to what you guys are doing now, just in terms of?
I would say yes, because like usually like I feel like the game constraints for the game engine are a lot more restrictive than the cinematic one.
Yeah.
Usually like texture budget and all, like just make it nice, like there's no real like texture resolution or number of texture that you can use.
Right.
And of course, like, you retopo as well. And, we're going through the rigging just like in game. But yeah, in general, it's just like make it pretty as much as you can.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, it's.
I look forward to. I mean, this is a really hot time now for real time, as it's getting better and better, and games are looking so much better. And you almost don't have to rely on cinematics now, where you get like very amazing results. And I mean, companies like Blur and all the other ones that work on amazing cinematics are almost like their own sort of artwork and art form. But then in the games world, it's like you guys are in. It's got to be an exciting time being in a company like Ubisoft, and I'm sure. I mean, you can't talk about this project, but projects like this, I'm sure, it's just getting better and better all the time. We're probably getting a little bit more, sort of less restrictions. I bet it's probably going up over time.
Yeah.
Definitely.
It's definitely it's cool to see, like, for example, on like Assassins, like it was all in-game cinematics that we did, and it's so cool because then you can like, even though like we create all of our textures, like once they get in game, they get crunched down to like a 1K or something. Yeah. But you create it like at a 4K, and then in the cinematics they can push it. Yeah. So then you can see like, the specular on the face and stuff like
because
that.
Because cinematic, they're still real time, but they're not like gameplay real time.
Right.
So
it's
they
more
can,
locked.
and usually like they don't display as much asset like, in the shot. So they got more budget like performance wise.
Yeah,
so.
It's really cool.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So.
Yeah, that's interesting. Do you guys, as far as like staying in games, do you guys like? I mean, as character artists, this is probably. It's a good place to be because you have a lot of freedom to, go from one project to another. I mean, you guys spent how many years on Assassin's Creed Odyssey?
So 3 years or something.
Yeah, but
3 years
since
in
I
total.
only got there in 2.5 years,
Yeah,
the project was already going on
from
when
start to finish, but you got through majority of it. It sounds like.
Yeah, I would say that.
And then being able to go on to something new is sort of like a fresh start.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
as creators,
Fresh,
do you guys
quick
find
start.
it? Yeah, fresh, quick start.
Yeah. So it's like a 9-month.
Yeah.
9-month product.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Have you guys ever considered going into visual effects or going into film at all?
I thought about it. I did a bit of like 3D printing stuff.
Oh, interesting.
I worked for a company that did a lot of stuff for like Louis Vuitton.
Yeah.
And like their shop window displays.
Yeah.
So that was kind of cool because it's like a lot of the stuff that I did, it was like prototyping and like we would like mill stuff out. So like we made like these massive ribbons that would go from like one end of the room to the other. And that would be in like all the Louis Vuitton shops.
Wow.
So it was pretty cool, like some of the things that we had to do. So we basically made the molds and then it was like milled and things like that.
Yeah.
So yeah,
This is before Ubisoft.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is before Lionhead as well. So
I see.
So yeah, I'm just like, you never know what you were gonna like get on your plate. So like I'd go into work and be like, hey, yeah, we need a really big chocolate pudding that somebody needs to jump into. So it's like, okay, cool. I like sculpted up a giant chocolate pudding and
That's amazing.
then like that day send it off to the millers and like we'll come back and like a couple of days and like you get this like big chocolate pudding and then we'd there and like paint it up like hand traditionally and stuff.
Wow.
So
the practical side of that is interesting. Do you guys, I mean, it always seems like when I talk to ZBrush artists, everybody kind of has like when you go home if you have time, since you guys have kids.
When you go home.
Yeah, or if you go home.
4 a.m. man, 4 a.m.
If you get that time besides Sculpt-Off stuff, like what do you guys like to work on? Do you guys still work on character work, or do you guys still?
You bet. But, well, I'm doing the ZBrush Live when I can.
Yeah.
But no, definitely. I think I don't know. I mean, like everybody got like a different perspective on it. But for me, I get the feeling that at work, you're basically paid to produce art. But sometimes I don't feel like you're always leveraging everything that you got to offer, or sometimes you'd like to go in a direction that might be interfering with where the project want to go. And even like sometimes you build up like frustrations, like, you don't like the way it's going or the decision, but you're getting paid to do it. So you do it. So I think like having something at home that release from you, basically, okay, today was not a good day, but I know that when I'm coming home, I'm going to be working on something that really, I'm having a lot of fun. So I think that's a good release, and even like a LT thing to do. So because of that, it keeps your creative juice like alive. And no, definitely. Like for me, like I'm always working on something that pushes me even further. So
I think that's, as artists, like artists really need that fulfilling kind of feeling, and if you might not always get it in a career, in production, no matter what, that's going to happen for everybody. But it's kind of keeping things on the side, having projects on the side. Like I've got a hard drive full of just stuff that's like I'm always kind of working on, and like things I forget about this, I go back and add some stuff to this. It's like it's never ending, right? That's the best thing about having ZBrush as a tool.
Just jump into it.
For sure.
Like for me, like I do like if I've had like a really bad day at work, or not really bad day, but if I've like had to look at Excel sheets all day or something like that, and it's just
not the most fun thing to do.
And I come home and like I say to my wife, I just really need to sculpt something, like just to keep my creative juices flowing and stuff. But so she's pretty cool. She lets me sculpt. She understands that I need to.
That's awesome. Do you guys just like watch TV and you sculpt kind of thing, or like she's like?
No, she's normally in another room, and I am. But I teach as well, so like in the evenings. So
that's great.
So like she hears me in the other room, and I'm not exactly like Paul, but I'm like when I teach, I'm like quite eccentric to keep people interested.
I could see that.
And
I
stuff
could see
like
that.
So but no, it's cool. No.
Where are you teaching? You're teaching online?
I teach I've taught at a few places. Taught at the Games Art Institute and with Think Tank. But at the moment, I'm doing XMD Academy.
Oh, great!
So I've created a course over there. So
that's fantastic.
So
that's really essential, because people that work in the industry, there's only so many places you can get that kind of information. And it's like you can go to a university, but there's only so many schools. Noman's like one of them, and it's one of the best places to go. But it's here, and not everybody can make it out here.
Definitely.
It's like online and doing what you do and going on ZBrush Live is like, we seem to get a lot of positive reaction from people to just sharing stuff as much as possible.
I think seriously, I think like I grow through this as well, because oftentimes, and I think it's the same thing when you got like students and you're teaching. Sometimes you'll get like questions or like stuff that how do I do that? And it's like the kind of question that you would never ask, like the way that you did your thing, you never went through that route. But the fact that they ask you for it, you're just like, that's a good question. And then you might find like another tool that you would have never thought of. And I think you grow through that.
That is a part of the learning process, right?
I feel a bit bad sometimes, because sometimes my students like ask me, how would I, it's like, for example, I'm doing a hair course, and they would like, how would you do dreads? And I was like, okay, I've never done a dread before. It's like, okay, let's
figure this out together, guys.
Let's give it a go. I'm learning with you guys. Come on, let's
I find myself doing, anytime I don't stream as much as you guys, but I find myself, I do a jump on ZBrush Live, and I just kind of go through and I start something, and I get to a point where I'm like, I've never actually done this before. And you kind of just go through it and like, I'm just going to try this out. And if it doesn't work, it's kind of okay, because you just go, I probably won't do that again. But,
and even sometimes, like I remember like some cases, I was just like, I know, guys, I don't know. Like I went to this thing, I'm trying to do that, but it doesn't work out at all. And then someone in the chat would say, but no, go there and try this. And then I try it out, and then it works. I'm just like, oh man, where were you during all that time?
That's great that you're open to that, though. I feel like that's a great quality to have.
So I think it's like a kind of a give and take. So
you're kind of on a journey together. It's like it's great to have people there in the chat and like talking to you and like kind of just watching. It's like maybe you should try that.
Okay. But seriously, I felt like the whole ZBrush Live experience. It's really more like imagine like the 3 3 of us. We're all in the same room. We're all sculpting at the same time, and then we're just like chatting, you know.
Yeah,
exactly. And we're just like, oh man,
Definitely.
I'm stuck. So like you just like come in and you say, I don't do that. This, you know, that's how I perceive it. Like that's how I would. So it doesn't really matter the skill level. We're all just doing our thing and just like chilling together.
Right.
So
That's awesome. No, it's a great way to look at it. I feel like do you find that to be somewhat like what it's like in the studio, like when you're working with a group of artists where you can actually go to somebody's desk and go, you know, like, hey, I got this problem I'm trying to figure out, or they might just be there and you're talking about it.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Like,
I think it got something.
Yeah, it's like you're there together as a team, and everybody wants to like be the best that they can, and like sharing that knowledge and helping each other out is what makes a really good team. Yeah, and it's like even like when people find stuff, it's like, oh man, I didn't know this, and it's like, hey guys, have you seen this? Like, is this tool or whatever? And it's like, oh yeah, like, and that's
one of the things that we struggle with is, you know, we're always trying. We do so much on the streaming side, actually ZBrush videos, the classroom, all of the stuff that we're putting out. But even then, it's like to get people to see all of the things that you can do. ZBrush Live has been one of the greatest things. If people find the time to actually sit and watch streams and watch a lot of people, you get all kinds of stuff from different people. Like watching individuals, like you're going to do it one way, you're going to do it one way, somebody else is going to do it totally differently. Yeah. And you can sort of like cherry pick things out of there and just like put that in your little library of stuff. Yeah. You know, and it's like the more stuff you have, the better it is when you get to a problem. It's like, I could do dreads 10 different ways. I guess I'll try this one, and if it doesn't work the next time, I'll try another one. Then eventually you got a good little, you know,
it's like an evolution. It's like an evolution of yourself as well. Yeah. And it's really weird. Like my wife gave me, it's like putting yourself like out your comfort zone a little bit to like develop.
That's a good point. Yeah.
And it's funny, my wife gave me a little card, like, it's like one of the things that she gave me, and it was
along with the screaming goat.
Along with the screaming goat,
just next to it, you know.
But it said on this card, magic happens when you're out your comfort zone, and I think it's awesome. True. When like here, like we're completely out of our comfort zone here. We're hermits. We like sit in, like sculpt, and magic does happen when you're out there. Like
it definitely does.
Just like the people that you meet and stuff. If you don't give it a go, and if you're not out your comfort zone, right, you never know.
For sure, and especially coming to a place like this where you're around people that are like-minded enough, you know, and you're getting exposed to people, even though it might be, you know, challenging to like go talk to somebody you haven't seen but haven't talked to before, or somebody that you don't know how to approach them. It's like everybody seems to have that trouble, but once you sort of get those conversations going, especially tonight, there'll be like a keg and food. Yeah, it's like that kind of like everything loosens up, and it's like, oh man, this is like the best, and people just love it. Yeah, and we've had a lot of repeat artists just coming back every year for that reason. I think. Yeah,
but it's an addiction. Yeah, I'm addicted to this place.
That's awesome, man.
Like,
I love that.
Cool. But to be honest with you, like my feeling, because it's my first summit, and I feel like up until now, basically, because I get the feeling everybody comes here like from different part of the world. And, they come alone to rent like an Airbnb or a hotel, and then they come here. But, they come here clearly like to meet people, like to be like alike and talk about that. So every time that I was because most of the time what just happened, I saw the face of someone that I know online, but I never talked to. And I just jumped in,
right to him.
Directly, man. I was just like shaking his hand. And of course, like everybody's like super receptive because you came for this. But then, I know that there's like the shyness factor. Sure. But I was just like, man, I'm only here for 3 days.
Capitalize on that opportunity.
Man, I want to shake every hand I can, man.
This is the thing, like Rossetti's amazing, but I'm so scared to go up and talk to him. Yeah. And literally, as we walked
he's just walking
standing there, I was like, man, hey, hello. Oh man, like it's like
it threw me off.
You just get put in these situations.
Yeah,
and it's just like, oh man, hey.
Yeah. That is the best part. I wish we could do this more often, and I wish we could make this bigger. We're getting better and better at it every year. And like the setup, this is your first year, but the setup outside we're getting more like energy and more action and more sponsors, more booths.
I think one thing that would really help out actually, it's because that's one of the things that I found like that was like harder was we know a lot of each other's work, but we don't always know each other's names or face.
Right.
Yeah.
So the thing is, you talk with someone completely clueless who he is. It happened like with George, and I forgot his last name, but basically this guy is like
the clay sculptor.
Yeah, exactly.
He's been with Brett Briley, and I met
exactly.
George for the first time this week.
Okay,
and, he's awesome.
But
incredible.
But for me, like I've been using his stuff as reference for the longest time. For me, like one of the benchmark where I want to get at. And basically, I was talking
You're
with
talking
him.
to this guy you didn't even know?
But no, not at all. And then he was just like, "Oh, here's my card," and it was like, and then I look at the card and it's like, "Man, this rings a bell." And then it just clicked,
And
I was just like,
Seb starts screaming. It's like
the
you're
goat,
right, you're right.
like the goat, man.
Yeah.
So I think it's amazing.
Well, what
but-
do you think we could do better? Because I mean, we give you guys
Well,
these.
this is the thing. Like for us, like it's pretty cool to have these, but I
It's
think,
too low.
Yeah, it's too
And
low.
it's
Just
too
a bit
low,
high.
and it needs just like we just wear like a
Man,
face mask.
just a sticker with people's names on.
You know what? Brett Briley's been yelling at me about that for
Listen
2
to him.
years now.
Listen
I
to him.
know.
It's-
He's like,
it's
just
cool.
get hello, my name is, and just put it right there.
Yeah, or
Yeah.
maybe like even like a small picture when you when
Well,
you do
don't
the
need a
registry.
picture because
Yeah.
it's your face.
No, but I mean a picture of your work. I would love like to have a picture of your work. Let's just say you got like Warfare piece. You just put it like next to your
Yeah.
name on it
That's
when
another
you
thing
register.
that Brett Briley's a wise guy. He's been saying that a lot. He comes in with his shirt with his artwork on
Yeah.
it, and he's got his user like handle, like which is Sparks.
Yeah.
And like so like each other by each other's like ZBC handle or ArtStation,
yeah.
whatever. And and like maybe just like a bigger spot for the name.
Yeah, no.
All right, we'll take that to heart.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because that's the thing. There's so many amazing people. You don't want to miss out
Right.
anyone.
Right.
But that's the thing. Sometimes you just don't know. You know?
I'm rubbish with names as well.
Yeah.
I'm completely useless with names.
Well, and it's tough here because you're going from so many people at once, and like I have a hard time myself. It's like I've met people multiple times here, and I just will forget.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
like when I sit and have like intimate conversations like this, I will absolutely remember. But it's like if it's just like in passing, it's like you're doing 1,000 things at once, and your brain's just going, and you just can't. keep
Yeah,
up.
and you're not here really as an attendee. You're
Yeah.
like part of the
and that too.
organizer. So I mean,
Yeah.
like that's a different kind
Yeah,
of perspective.
but still,
so.
I feel awful because like I have the same thing where it's like I recognize people's work and I see people throughout the year. It's like I want to make sure I talk to all these people, and it just never happens the way it is because you're just like so like high strung about it the whole way through, you know.
Yeah.
But I would love to just come hang out. I mean, tonight's the perfect night for it. We get to actually go out and just chill and have some food, and we got the awards tonight. Which honestly, that's this is your first time for the awards, so you're gonna love it, man. It's gonna be great.
and we're quite proud because even our game is like part of the awards too.
it's been
So
nominated.
as a
Absolutely,
nominee,
which is
so-
also.
so,
I mean,
yeah.
honestly, all best of luck to both of you guys for both things.
Yeah, thank you.
Cheers.
Well,
Yeah, thank you.
and
Yeah.
the rest of the team, of course. So.
Oh, no, we thank you guys.
Like,
Yeah.
I know that they wish that they could be here as well, like to represent.
Yeah.
But
Well, like I said, the game is fantastic, and our hats off to all you guys for your hard work. And there's plenty of people out there still playing that game. So
Yeah. Yeah,
I'm
no,
just
that's
getting started. Like, this is the one thing I love about games today is even if it doesn't, there used to be is like if you missed the boat on, especially a game like Assassin's Creed Odyssey, is like I don't feel like I was pressured to jump into that game right when it came out because it's story driven. It's like I can kind of play it at my own pace and like. Kind of jump in and like I don't feel like I'm missing out. But if it's like Fortnite or something else, like that's like so competitive. You miss something, it's like and like I almost don't
level
want
up enough.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like
you're-
I'm just so behind. I'll never want to play it.
Yeah.
But nowadays it's like I like the story-driven games that have substance to it.
And I like people like you because the thing is, after the game, I was like working on the post-launch content, which were like outfit and stuff like that. And every month they release it. But when there's like people like you that come in at the end, you get access to all.
It's
the
like I get
content,
all
the content, and like right away.
I didn't
so-
have to wait for it.
No, exactly.
I know.
It's all.
Yeah, for sure. I did that with Destiny 2, and I've done that with a lot of games, honestly. It's mostly just because of time. It's like I teach as well, and Pixelogic is a full-time thing, and, we're spending our time doing so much stuff.
Yeah.
But it's like every once in a while I squeeze in time, like I'm going to do that for sure. And even just like for a couple hours, like jump in there and have fun, and it's great.
Yeah.
Like I love that. Do you guys game at all?
Yeah, I try to
Try,
with the
yeah.
busy schedule and the kids, but
Yeah.
when we're not sculpting.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I know.
Here and
That's
there,
the-
I treat myself.
It is the hardest thing is when you work on the arts, I feel like you get almost the same satisfaction of working on the art as doing it, as playing the thing. I can see that sort of connection, and I get that satisfaction when I'm just working in ZBrush, and I could sit there for 8 hours, just like I can sit there with a controller in my hand and do that too. But it's like it's almost the same thing in a way. I think it's almost more creative to be actually building the thing and sort of like using your brain to concept that stuff out. But I guess it's like every once in a while I just need a break. It's like not doing the same thing for too long.
Switch your brain off. Just
And-
different world, different place.
Yeah,
and-
exactly.
Yeah.
And I won't lie, but like I've been playing game for since like I was like so young, and I get like over the years like sometimes like there's some games that I feel like it's like not redundant, but like been there, done that. Like, you know, first person shooter, I love them, but at some point I'm just like, you know, I don't know, like I play it, but I don't need like to finish the whole game. Just like having like a glimpse of the experience and stuff like that. Yeah. I'm a huge Mortal Kombat fan, and
nice, yeah.
And
well, you like martial arts, and I get it.
Yeah, well, I guess it got a link in there, but that's the thing. And at the same time, I think it's relevant for us because just like, you know, VFX in the movies, you need like to check out like what the others are making because, you know, they're pushing the benchmark as well. And I think it's good to see, you know, being inspired, but at the same time knowing where the benchmark is. You know, like I saw like recently what, you know, Last of Us 2 is actually looking like. So I don't want to be like the one sticking my head like in the sand, just ignoring. No, it doesn't exist. And it's perfectly all right what we're making. No, I want to roll if I can with those guys. So
that's really great. I think I respect that because that's kind of what it pushes everything in the world, right? That's how you get better. You know, it's like
definitely.
Don't be afraid of it. It's like challenge yourself to, you know, we can do that too.
Yeah. Well, if a studio made it, it's feasible.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
exactly.
So it might be hard work, but it's feasible. So
it's just learning that chemistry to get it working in your game, basically.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, we got to get set up for this award show coming up here pretty soon. But you guys have been awesome. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah,
both of you guys.
Yeah, same here, man.
All right. Well, best of luck to both of you guys tonight.
Thank you.
Yeah, and we should head out.
Cool.
Yeah,
All right.
awesome.
Thanks.